speaking on this, this is a good way to bring into the new episode of The Road Less Taken. I'm Petty Rich,
Small man.
and I want to talk about today, because we started off the first episode talking about our mental health regarding our adult lives and our transition, our general overall. Second episode, we got into a little bit of our childhood and the certain factors of that. But now I want to talk about mental health and money.
They're both
You know,
so yeah,
you know,
so intertwined.
because money seems like, at least, especially when it comes to a man, gatekeeps a lot of things that we have access to. And I'm not talking about lavish lifestyles. You know what I'm saying?
Just being able to pay your bills,
Pay your
buy
bills,
buy
buy
food,
food. I'm not even
provide
talking
for your
about
family.
that. Yeah, there you go. Money has gatekeep family. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that now that most men aren't in a capacity to even have a family based on societal standards. And like right now, I read not right now. I read an article maybe a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
which was saying that in LA, in order to have good mental health, you have to make at least $60,000 a year, and to be happy, and mean like happy, you
Right.
have to make $80,000 a year at least. And this was a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely changed with inflation.
Yeah.
So they've already quantified the amount that we would need to maintain our mental health. And it's already shown, at least with black men, we make average of $46,000 a year.
So barely half.
Right. We make no we make half the amount it takes to be happy, and we're about one third
Hmm.
away from being mentally healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're a third off from that and half off from being actually happy.
Yeah.
So most black men, statistically, are below the mental health economic line, right? So after even telling you everything that I've gone through, you add that, it's already stressful to not be able to barely maintain yourself. But then the thought of wanting to take on something else and feeling inadequate, it has to do something to your mind, because it's done it to me plenty of times where I'm thinking like, damn, I'm not in the conventional way of making money. How am I going to be able to have a family and settle down? Who's going to see me as viable because I don't have the pieces of paper that tell me I'm worth something? What do you think about that?
Oh, it's funny because last week I was down in San Diego on the job, and after I was done delivering that store's load, I purchased a few meatballs for my lunch before I drove back. And an individual in front of me was buying groceries for their family. I don't know how large their family is, but their grand total, $2 shy of $900. I'm just like, yo, when like, and then so another example, the other day I saw some TikTok reel or IG reel, whatever the fuck, about this family that went to go celebrate Star Wars Day at Disney, close to 10K for one day.
Wow.
Dude, okay, I understand like Disneyland is totally different from actual grocery shopping and shit like that, but again, it puts it back into perspective. It's just like how much you'll have to earn, how much you'll have to have saved. It is just like it's daunting.
Now you know now.
Hold on. And
Okay, go ahead. Go
the
ahead.
other thing too that I'm stressing about, that I was like when we were talking on the phone the other day, if I was gonna come kick it with you and Ron and them, like me personally, I gotta get the car. Like it needs at least 3K worth of work.
Right.
Then there's my mom's gonna need help with other bills shit. Like I got my other bill shit. Like it adds up, and not being able to like, it's just like it's there. Like that worrying thing is always there.
So, like, I want to go back to what you were saying about the Disneyland and
Yeah,
the groceries, right?
yeah,
Um, I would say that's a bit of a hyperbole, because you're talking about, because like if someone's able to afford $10,000 for a family trip to like Disneyland or Disney World type shit, or $900 for their family, they're not necessarily in the tax bracket.
Okay, I understand that, but realizing that that's what people that are in the higher tax bracket,
Right.
that's what they spend. Like
Yeah.
when I witness, like when I see that their grand totals and all that shit, it's just like,
Now, is it necessary or is it hubris? That's the real question, right?
well,
Because because they could have easily did the same trip, probably trip cheaper, but they decided to add the extra things.
yeah,
Now, what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't take away that they're spending
yeah,
exuberant amounts of money for their family, and you're seeing this. But to understand that, what if that doesn't speak on you, right? Because you could have that kind of money and decide to spend cheaper and still be worth
yeah,
the amount that those people went. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to confuse I don't want people to confuse hubris with being a parent. You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm talking about is just being able to provide and put food on the table for my child on a consistent level. I'm not talking about $900 groceries. I'm talking about I'm being able to put some food in front of my child's face every day when they say they hungry, whether they like the food or not. That's not the case, right?
yeah,
Because not everybody is striving to be the richest, the greatest. You know, some people just want to live a good life, have some kids, be able to provide for them in the best way that they can, and you know what I'm saying, and hope that their children do better than them. You know, we we're in a society now where everybody feels like they got to be in that position, right? That position of wealth and the position of comeuppance, when a lot of these things that we see right now is a cumulative effort from people that came before these people who enjoy their luxuries now. Now, there's granted, most of them are spoiled, pretentious brats who probably got it from nepotism or been holding it for so long they don't know what it means to share. But when you talk about us, that's what I see. That's my mission. You know what I'm saying? To show people you know, strive. You know, you got to strive. It's not about thriving. It's about striving. It's about how much you can take during the process of getting to where you need to be, right? Um, I'm just like, because like I'm like getting on the topic of just gatekeeping, right? It's not just money either, right? On the economic tip, it's education, right?
big
Because
time.
without a degree, you know, you don't have access to entry level or high entry level jobs. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, you know, so there's another outlet that's keeping you away from money. And then there's outlets that do give you for money, but society has made it where it looks like it's beneath, right? Because a lot of women have been entering the corporate world, becoming CEOs, becoming corporate
Boss
status.
bitches.
Nah, yeah, but just let's for a lack of better words, let's just go with they're becoming more white collar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they're, you know, it's funny because it's like I'm seeing a lot of women go through the same issues that I see in China. You know, there's a lot of white collar, right? Because China wanted to generate their capital wealth, but they neglected their blue collar, their trade works, the things that keep a society going. You know, plumbing, electricity. You know, like we were just talking about, Department of Sanitation, the things that people don't think about.
Fucking road maintenance.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like the very things that people look down on and talk down
I'm
on
sorry, infrastructure in general.
in general. Everything would literally be a standstill without these things, and they're not being prioritized, nor are they
No,
being
they are
praised.
not. No.
Yeah, man, you know, people want to be YouTubers now. You know, like people want to be sensationalized in a way instead of, you know, a lot of people don't want to make their greatness in silence. Everybody wants to be seen now. And with that kind of mentality, you got a lot of these young men who want all the rewards with no effort, all the celebration with no victory. So we get to a point where people feel like their lives are passing them on because everybody has a short-term mentality now. Nobody wants to produce long-term results. No, everybody's caring about their own personal growth rather than their legacies, gradual growth. You know what I mean?
Going back to that greatness and silence line, that shit really hit, like, resonated with me, because a lot of the work that I've been, like you said, putting in, either for myself or for the things that help keep me sane, going, be it the music, etc. Like, it, what little time I had been able to carve out for it, like, I don't like to fuck around, and because I mean these things, yeah, they bring me joy, and they make me feel like a better person, just because of just like, at first I would see like drums again, for example, is like, how do they make those noises? What is the technique behind all that shit? Like,
Right.
because it looks and sounds so fucking awesome. I want to learn that.
Yeah.
And then in going through the process of learning all like the foundations, the techniques, etc., it's just like, it's so frustrating, because it's just like, I'm putting in the time, I'm putting the effort. Why isn't it translating? Why isn't it showing? And then
Well,
it finally, when it does pay off, sorry, it's just,
go ahead,
it
my
feels so rewarding, because it's just like something clicks. It's just like, maybe I think I was approaching this technique wrong, or I was just maybe in a bad mental state. That's the other thing too, is just like approaching the things I love to do when I'm in a bad mood. Tell me get over it. Sometimes it backfires on me. So I'm just like, I played drums, or I got down on some video games, but I didn't enjoy the session. It was just like, what the fuck?
you went through the motions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
So I totally agree with you that people like to be like, look what I can do, look what I can do, look what, it's like, growing up, I wanted to make friends. I wanted to be not even part of a clique, just have like maybe a handful of people that I could hang out with on the daily. But it was like, fuck out of here, four-eyed faggot. No one wants to hang out with you. Like, a lot of that, because in the 90s, everyone was a faggot.
Yeah.
For whatever unfortunate reason.
Whatever given reason, you were that.
Yeah.
You were definitely a fag, and it was just, you could have just been, you could like anime, you were a fag. You like NSYNC, you were a fag. Nickelback, fag. Wrestling, fag. You know what I'm saying?
Big time on the wrestling. Yeah.
You didn't think the sky was in blue? You didn't think the sky was in blue? Fag. Like, it was just like, you breathed 2 times, not 3 times? Fag. It was just so many stupid reasons in the 90s to be called that, such a slur.
Yeah.
You know?
And it forced me. It's just like, I got so bitter that I was just like, I'm done trying to be anyone's friend. Like, if someone does want to reach out and hang, cool. I'll just let them know, hey, I'm kind of a spaz, but yeah, let's hang. Like, this is what I like. But when I wasn't hanging out with the very few friends that were cool enough, I was just part of the atmosphere. I was in the background. So I was just like, I would just post up somewhere and just fucking drop eaves on my peers and just see what's going on in their world.
I feel it. Yeah, man. Like,
and that's what kind of sort of started me down the path of being able to understand social cues or norms, what have you, like how to interact with people, what to do, what not to do, what'll happen when you get out of pocket, what have you. It's just like, oh,
right.
So, and even with those examples, I still came over here and stepped out of line sometimes. It was a learning experience, but I think so many people are insecure in wanting to go through that, and instead just want to present themselves as just like, I'm all knowing, I'm this. Like, no, like we all go through a growth process. Like, no one falls into this fucking life knowing everything off the back.
Man, I tell you what, it's like for me, I've been treating my life recently. And this goes with, this comes full circle back to the economy of things, right? Money and my mental health, right? There's a lot of walls, there's a lot of barriers that come down the road for me personally, that tend to take away from what I'm trying to do, whether it be people, whether it be access, whether it be money, right? And I look at it again like a plant. And when you grow a plant, right, a lot of plants tend to grow water leaves, which are pretty much leaves that don't produce anything but take away from the main plant. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell if you let it be for long enough that the plant will even stunt its growth because of how much a water leaf takes away from the main thing. So the best way to do it is by pruning it, right? You clip it, no harm, no foul. All those extra nutrients that was going to the water leaf now is going back to the main plant to fulfill its purpose as a plant, right? And I treat my life like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't, instead of being caught up on what I don't have, I cut off the things that don't serve me. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have a degree right now, I cut that thought off. I cut that pursuit off and allow my purpose to continually grow, because with or without a degree, your life still moves forward.
Yeah.
With or without the money,
Yeah.
your life still moves forward. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And it was it's hard to reconcile with, because everybody wants to be that guy. Everybody wants to be that dude that's able, that has that access,
Yeah.
that feels exceptional, that feels desired in levels that most niggas don't usually get privy to. But the reality is, most of us is more of the same.
Mhm.
You know, and when you come to terms to that, it becomes easier for you to navigate your life, way more easier when you're trying to live it based on what your reality is, based on what you see for yourself. Maybe you do get a bunch of bitches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that comes with, I know people get bitches. It comes with its own issues. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, women don't make anything different. It don't make anything better or worse. But they definitely have their own. They definitely, niggas with bitches have their own lane. Just like niggas who don't have bitches have their own lane. It's every man have their own lane, essentially, when it comes to this life that we approach. But we have to take it with a level of humility. We got to take it with a level of understanding that we're not gonna have everything together, right?
Yeah.
You know, and and that comes back in again to money. You know what I'm saying? Um, I can sit here and give you proper saving methods, budgeting, all that good shit, right? But the fact of the matter is that that's not always going to be a viable thing. And for most people who's tuning in, that's probably not something viable anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the best thing that I can tell you is to just maintain what you have in front of you, right? If your rent's in front of you, maintain that. If your bills are in front of you, maintain that. Keep doing that. It's like, well, why are you telling me something that I've been doing? Because you ain't been told that. You've intuitively just been doing it, right?
Going through the motion, as
Right.
they say.
You're just going through the motions. No one's telling you to do it. You just know that you have to do it. But the thing is that you have to keep doing it. You have to keep building on yourself, regardless if you don't see your own results. You know what I'm saying?
Who's gonna inform these people of their results, or like
Nobody.
how will they be aware? If,
Your fruits.
mm,
Like, you can't expect for your fruits to speak for you alive or dead. You just gotta push forward. Like, the best example for that, right, would be
Yeah.
Van Gogh.
Okay.
Van Gogh was not famous nor popular, nor was his art liked alive. It wasn't until he passed, maybe 100 years after he passed, that people started to appreciate Van Gogh's work.
That's how it goes for a lot of artists, unfortunately, man.
Right, but the point still stands that not everybody is going to be able to see the fruits of their labor.
Yeah.
But he still put himself out there, right? We
Yeah.
got to still put ourselves out there. Like, this podcast might not make any kind of numbers for the next 100 years, bro.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it gets picked up and niggas is like, damn, I needed this today.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote this? Oh, some niggas from 100 years ago. Those are some inspiring motherfuckers. And we ain't gonna hear not a lick of that.
All right, so you're touching on, you're talking about something that I battle with, I struggle with. We're at the mercy of the universe. Feels like. Because not really, because I mean, we're surrounded by like asteroids, meteors, comets,
Right.
whatever, and then say one day the fucking Earth goes, the sun goes haywire, decides, see me, coronal mass ejection,
Right.
all our electricity is fucked.
Yeah.
Like, my mind always goes to like the worst case scenario.
Right.
And for me, what I've struggled with my whole, for a better part of my adult life is just not jumping to that drastic of a scenario to keep me from just giving up.
Well, let's look at it like this then, right?
Yeah.
Out of all the years you've been alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has the sun or asteroids done any of that shit that you just said it could do?
And then I return, then then I get back to myself with that. It's just like I talk myself off that fucking
Right.
ledge.
Like
It's just like,
you gotta start asking you because it's like, yeah, those worst case scenarios, I'm not denying them, but like it goes back to what's right in front of you.
oh, so yeah. Thank you to bringing it back because if I entertain that notion that like worst case scenario, no one's gonna ever hear us regardless
Right.
because civilization's gonna just get wiped the fuck out and
Right.
who knows what's gonna start anew.
But that's not for us to harbor on, right?
Yeah,
It goes back to what's in front of us.
yeah,
Is it, it means something to me to be able to put something out here to help men and young men alike to be able to overcome their struggles and battles with their own personal mental health, right? So regardless if anybody hears it or nobody hears it, I know it helped one person, and that's me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So at the end of the day, I don't think that we're at the mercy of the universe. I think we're at the mercy of our decisions.
Yeah, of ourselves.
You know what I'm saying? We're at the mercy of the choices that we make in this life.
Yeah.
And because the thing is that I have never seen the universe. I've never seen another planet. I've never seen a star face to face, right?
You're looking at one right here, bro.
You stupid. Right? We out here stars, my bad. But what I have seen, right,
Yeah.
are the consequences of my actions and choices.
Yeah.
That's what I have. That's what I see.
That's another episode for another day, everybody.
Right. We're going to push that. That's that, he pushed it. So we're going to do that. The next episode going to be consequences of our actions and choices, But for right now, we talking about, let's kind of pivot back to, money and mental health, right? Yeah. We already know that bills is like now, like for example, inflation, right?
Ooh, yeah.
You can't even go back. You can't even go outside no more without spending something. It's like nothing is free in the sense of just out. Mm-hmm. When I have my car, I'm going out for my gas. I'm going out for something. You know what I'm saying? And even if I don't get nothing, I don't burn gas, money, time. You know what I'm saying? And it's only one of me, and sometimes it gets stressful going outside. So sometimes I get anxiety because it's like, every time I go outside, I lose a little more of my resources. Mm-hmm. And it gets frustrating because it's like the money that I get doesn't go far enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's only the beginning of the week right now, and the nigga is already, contemplating how he gonna survive the next 3 weeks because I got bills, I got rent, I got shit, I got things that I need to get around. Just the et ceteras of everything that most people know. Mm-hmm. And my biggest issue is that when you're like for me in LA, right, all it takes is a flat tire or just one minor inconvenience that can put my entire life in an economic turmoil. And sometimes it gets hard, you know what I'm saying, to see the brighter side of things, to kind of all this stuff. So personally, me, when I go through these things, I would say my best advice is to see it through. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us give in to our fears, and so we assume, right? Because fear is just something, it's just uncertainty of something that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. Right? So if you decide to go a different way because of your fear, you're jumping to conclusions because you have no idea what's going on that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Been guilty of that
Me too. But then I realized seeing it through works out more times than none. You know what I'm saying? You find yourself at the skin of your teeth, but you made it. Mm. So we gotta sometimes get past ourselves and see it for what it is, which is a delusion. We're deluding ourselves. We're gaslighting ourselves, believing we can't do something or something's out of our control. When in fact it's ever much so in our control in a way that we make these choices.
Yeah. You're reminding me of someone I used to work with at my previous gig. We were talking post shift when we were cleaning up before leaving for the night, and we had stopped talking shop, and we were just asking general questions. And I asked, what do you do for fun when you're not, either at school or work? And she's like, oh, I don't really like to go out. I was like, okay, why not? And she followed up with it. She just feels like people are just always judging her. It's like, but I'm, is there a persecution out for you? Like, are people coming for your head? Like, and then I just think the little insight that I was able to glean from her answers is just like, I think she just got like made fun of big time growing up, and she just would rather just stick to.
Yeah.
And it's fucked.
Yeah, and
To give people that you don't know that much power over how you live your life is like, I mean, I could see why, but it's sad because it's just like, dude, like you only got this one existence and you're letting others dictate it.
but men do it every day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Look how hard we work. Look at the things that we acquire because of other people's expectations and desires. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got.
Most men live off of other people's expectations. It's rare to see a man live on their own purpose and path. You know what I'm saying? So, because society has geared us to show us that we're the providers, we're the protectors, we're the builders, we're the ones who go to war, we're the ones who support, we're the ones who do all these other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are not things that I woke up thinking I needed to be as a man, right?
Right.
These were the things that were taught to me to be a man, at least in this society.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to objectively say that there's a right way to be a man because, money is an abstract, right?
Yeah.
Like money is just a representation of something that it backs, and we're playing this, and they've convinced us that this is the thing that is required for us to have a family,
Mm-hmm.
when fucking is just as natural as breathing air. I don't know, man.
But you have to have the right things for people to fuck you.
But that's society though. What are the right things, bro?
I know.
Like, what are really the right things? As long as I am healthy and capable, and within a measure of reliability and stability,
Mm-hmm.
there shouldn't be a necessarily reason for me not to be a capable candidate. But because of the hyperbole of society, I'm not looked at as someone viable, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, and people could be like, well, don't put that on yourself. I've been single since 2010. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's about looking in front of you. Stop letting people convince you. I'm not going to let no one convince me that I'm not looking hard enough. I'm not going to let no one convince me that I'm not good enough, or maybe I need to do this or this and this and this and that, because there's plenty of people out there that show me otherwise. There are people who do way less than what I do and have successful, meaningful relationships, not just with their women, but with their families and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less about money and more about us relying on the system that gives us the money, right?
Yeah.
Because if money is the issue, then it's more so that we believe what we've been told, and that's the hardest part, is kind of coming to terms with the fact that maybe the system doesn't have your best interests in mind.
You're a resource to the system. That's it.
Right. And that, maybe the things that you want goes against their better interests. You know what I'm saying? People don't consider that. Like, okay, why can't I have a family? Why is it so expensive to have a family? It goes back to the homelessness, right?
Yeah.
It's like this because they want it this way. If they wanted a family-oriented society as the 14th largest economy in the world, they could turn this bitch into a family-oriented society. But they don't want that, because it's by design. They could do it.
And the things that are against our best interest is what they like to fucking sell to us. Bad food, fucking bad education, bad what have you. Bad. It's like they make the most out of shilling for bad choices.
Well, they sell us both.
Yeah.
They sell us our the things that are bad for our interests for cheap.
Yeah.
And then they sell things that are good for our interests high.
Yeah.
So family,
or try to demonize them.
Right. Family, high. Homes, high. You know what I'm saying? Cars, high.
Mm-hmm.
Travel, high. You know what I'm saying? All the things, medicine, high. Education, high. Daycare, high. Right?
High, cheap.
You know what I'm saying? But weed is cheap. McDonald's is cheap. Taco Bell, the gym, cheap. Plenty of work. But most of these jobs benefit people without kids. The American dream that they sold us doesn't have a place for children. It's just simple as that. If you look at the American dream and what it entails,
Right.
it doesn't have a place for children. So, and the thing is that we are talking about money and mental health, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a man's purpose in this life is a legacy. In my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because it's like a legacy is something that you can pass on. A legacy is what perpetuates the things that you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you cut that off, you put a man in perpetual anxiety for his existence, because now it's because like most men, I'm not not most men. Some men are not afraid to die. Some men are afraid to die without purpose, without nothing to pass on, without nothing to perpetuate, man.
Yeah.
Because like I said, some purpose is cumulative. Some things that you want to achieve may not be able to be achieved in your lifetime, but with family, it can be achieved in due time. You know what I'm saying? That's the benefit of having a family, and they're taking that away. They're taking away the longevity of legacy. That's what it is. You know, that's why I feel like they're attacking the middle class too. They're attacking the home. They're attacking legacy.
It's like they want to maintain their own at any means necessary.
Right. And it's just like, but when you deal, when such a small percentage is the constant perpetuator of these type of things, you go through something that I like to call the Ouroboros effect. You know, when you've consumed so much hubris, you don't realize you're eating yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. The system is going to eat itself. But until then, we have to maintain. We have to keep ourselves centered as men. We need to remind ourselves every day that everything that we do is worth it, because it pushes us forward to another day to get another chance at this life. Because at the end of the day, a man's purpose will always be the same, regardless of what society comes and goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there was completely different standards for men when Rome was around, when Greece was around, when Mesopotamia or Egypt was around,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Definitely.
They came and went, but man has still been, a man still had to be a man, regardless of what kingdom was there.
Yeah.
So as long as we remember that it's not our societal right to be men, it's our birthright. You know, what it means to be a man goes beyond whatever society tells us it is. Because before there was society, there was a man. Period. Before there was a kingdom, there was a man. Before there was a home, there was a man. Straight up.
It all
Like,
started. Yeah. It all goes back.
It all comes back to that, like to who we are inherently. This is our inherent right as men on this earth to be men. You know what I'm saying? It's not a privilege. It's not a curse. It's our inherent right to exist as who we are. And no society, no amount of money, no amount of prestige can change that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we could speak, and this is just as applicable as to women, but this is for men's mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to see ourselves beyond this as society, knowing that regardless of this is society, if the society was here or not, if you were born, you would have been born who you are, a man. So that's my advice regarding money and economy and your mental health. You got to understand who you are beyond these constructs. You know what I'm saying? Man built these constructs. Man built money. Man deemed what was resources. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you could even argue that the greatest resources is the decisions that you make.
I've never thought of it to look at it in that light.
Because every decision a man makes produces something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's failure or success, it produces. You know, we're like money was something that man produced.
Yeah.
Whether it failed or succeed, it came into existence. We have the ability to get something up here and bring it to the world.
I don't know if it's because I've been lost in the motions or what, but I never looked at it in that light. It's kind of, I'm not like blown away, but I'm just like, huh. It's kind of one of those no dumb moments.
I mean, like I said, we live in a society that's constantly having men on the grind, on the mill, constantly moving, constantly working, constantly perpetual motion. Most men don't, to the point most men don't even know their purpose till their deathbed.
Mm-hmm.
So don't feel bad or don't even feel like it's a duh moment, because a lot of people, the answer is right in their face because their head is down.
Nose to the grindstone all the time.
You know, like my nose was to the grindstone, so I get it. But you got anything else to add to this?
If you can, when you're not being worked to death, take some time to just fucking unwind and just lay there and soak in a good 5-minute rest, because you fucking earned it. You need it. Honestly, you touched on a lot of bases that I didn't even think would be covered. That I feel like I'd just be reiterating anything that you already covered. So
it's not about reiterating, right?
Yeah,
because this is about like-minded and relatability.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because not just I, not just you, but there's a lot of young men out there, a lot of older men, and a lot of our peers who go through the exact same thing and don't have the words to articulate it.
mm-hmm.
A lot of men are single-minded creatures who focuses on a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put a word behind, if you put definition behind a problem, it makes it easier for a man to solve it. You know what I'm saying?
True.
You know, like you can't tackle anxiety if you don't know you have an anxiety. You know,
mm-hmm.
So that's my hope. That's why I try to bring up concepts that most people don't hear, because with these tools, we can help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When we can put words behind our problems, we can start we can start defining them and addressing them in an objective manner. Because men work best in our logic and not in our emotions.
It's true, man. I used to have a very difficult time growing up, flying off the fucking handle, and I eventually had, I don't know if it was through a sit-down discussion with one or both of my parents, and then just experience that I accumulated over the years, that it just clicked. It's just like, yeah, man, you gotta, I don't know where, because it's not like I don't know where like this random fucking fits would come from, but yeah, dude, it had to stop. It was just fucking me over. And there are times where I do get angry at certain scenarios or just experiences, and I just have to remind myself, it's like, you're going through this for a reason. Yeah, it sucks, but you've been through worse. So you just gotta you just gotta go through it, man. And when you get home at the end of the day, if you get home or whatever, if you find some sort of answer, you take something away from this that can help you in your next day. It's just like, that's why you were meant to go through that experience.
Sometimes, funny thing you say that. I used to do that, try to look for a lesson in everything that goes wrong in my life. Or sometimes, even if I'm not wrong, right? Sometimes I'll just be like, what can I do better to avoid it? But then I realized that, I lost my chain of thought.
That is not supposed to be like that, or what?
Nah, it's just,
Are you trying to be too deep with it?
Nah, hold on. Had a brain fart. Repeat what you just said.
I basically, eventually, I just tried to look for the silver linings and everything, and then at at some point too, I just also stopped doing that because I felt like I was just being too hippie, too kumbaya, and I was just like, nah, man, like stop trying to look for the silver lines, and everything, and sometimes things are just gonna fucking suck. Just go through the suck.
Right there. That's what I was trying to say. Sometimes you got to just sit on your losses.
Yeah,
Sometimes there is no answer.
yeah.
Sometimes the answer is to sit on your losses.
And it sucks. It's
Yeah,
uncomfortable. You don't
bro.
want to. I mean, L's losses. They all vary in fucking degrees of severity, and which is why it's better to just. I mean, as shitty as it's gonna be, like just go through that instead of just like, because honestly, you might just end up lying to yourself or gaslighting yourself or just putting yourself in even more of a bad head state
Yeah.
because of it.
Yeah, man. But the thing is, it's just like the plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you prune the plant, like they've already had studies to show that plants feel pain, right?
And they speak to one another.
Right. So let's assume that when you prune it, it feels pain,
Mhm.
right? But it's not one of those pains where you're plucking them. It's not like it's intentional. It's to help them. I call that constructive pain, right? Like a controlled burn, right? In a fire, when there's a fire, they burn certain parts to kind of entrap the fire.
Yeah, so it won't spread.
Right. It's a necessary attack on yourself to maintain a proper healing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of do that. That's how it feels. It helps, but you're gonna still feel it, right?
Yeah.
You're pruning it, you're helping it, but I'm pretty sure that it's still feeling it. Like for example, if your arm had gangrene and I had to cut off your arm, it saved you,
Fucking hurt like
but
hell.
you're still gonna feel the loss of that arm.
Yeah.
Now that's an
dude.
extreme.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that in life, no matter what you cutting off and stuff like that, you're gonna still feel it. You're gonna think that you're above it, but no one's above the hurt.
No.
No one's above the feeling of hurt. Just take it in, internalize it, and move forward with it. You know?
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's a good place to end it on for today's installment.
All right. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever we are on these platforms.
Do the things. Tell all your friends.
Please, especially all your male friends. Anybody out there that feel like that they by themselves or they're feeling misunderstood, if they feel like that, society isn't just enough, or you just don't know how to navigate through this world like that as a man, or you tired of people coming at you, or you just want to find something, come to the road less taken. I may not know. I Petty Rich and my boy Mo. Mo Man may not have all the answers.
We're still going through it.
We going through it right there with you, but we here for you. So, with that being said, I'm Petty Rich, and this is
Mo Man.
And this has been The Road Less Taken. You guys have a wonderful weekend.